All right, welcome to Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. I would like to say thank you for everyone listening and tuning in and watching. Unfortunately, today I forgot my phone, so I can't put it on. I can't put it on Instagram as a live. So, and we finna start working on it. I got a nice setup here. I can really go do some big streaming type of stuff. Got the 3 camera, the got a nice camera up here and stuff, a nice setup. So I'm gonna get into that soon. I was just talking about, yesterday I had a great day. Like I said, this whole week I'm gonna just be celebrating like from 1 week to the next. My birthday's in the middle of next week, so I'm gonna be just popping up doing all the stuff that I enjoy over. I still am a kid at heart, so I just pop up. Yesterday I went to the movies. I watched How to Train a Dragon, and I also caught the most of the movie Materialist, because I do like I sneak in a second movie and stuff, and the movie up right in this neighborhood is only $6. I had to spend $10, so I just watched an hour of it. So the Materialist, I could give an honest review on it, and I'm gonna just talk about that for a little bit. I'm gonna have to be quick because today, I've been telling y'all that I'm going to coach football as well, so I made a decision just to coach Little League in this Palm Beach County area. I'm glad I looked it up. I could have went out to out there in Riviera Beach, but I'd rather for me to be stationed in the county where my mother stays, so we don't have no issues and mix up of who the real Ira Bush is, because a lot of fraud going on in Florida that they got to clean up. So it's a lot of fake coaches that want to be me. It's a lot of people that's jealous because they got to work and they not have the ability that I have. They living in the past. They living in hate, and the hate groups are at the highest level in the police force, in the political world, and the governors and the senator, all that, and they cabinets, all that hate comes from that area and it trickles down. So that's a little info that I'll tell you. But all you got to do is be seen and be the best of your best self, because I don't have time to they just really people that's hiding in the shadows, not doing nothing. And I'm out here educating and teaching sports. So I don't have to it's time for me to get back into it full time and then make the commitment just to go ahead this year to do Little League, probably volunteer on the high school level as well, at the highest level. You got to find a good program to help, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully, become a head coach at the league. I kind of did wait till the last minute, but today is the screening for background for that. So I'm glad I looked it up, and I'm gonna pick the whole county. And like I said, I'm always gonna be rated at the top as a coach in football. It's never going down. I can't go down in that. So I'm so excited about for to win this little recreation basketball league I'm in, and then I'm gonna go over here. Hopefully, if I get a really good program that I don't know what team I'm gonna be at. If I go to a really good program where it's athletes and it's coachable kids, I'm gonna definitely probably win. So hopefully I'm in a good position for that. Now, I'm be making sure. I think I talk well today. We got to go talk too much political. It's a couple representatives that I actually, been, I have not, they've been going in. So I'm gonna let some of their stuff play, but it's gonna be about 5-10 minutes today. I'm gonna try to get out of here before 11. But I'm gonna go in, let them speak. I'm gonna give my opinion because I can't. I always gotta speak political. I want to say this before I go into my segments on sports and political. The NBA Finals yesterday. We'll talk about that. I really have an issue with people. It's like it's certain levels. Like just because you're, and I'm not saying that just because you have a certain status as far as fame doesn't make you better than me. So you can't judge me because you're sitting in this old fairyland world every day, and you people actually garner gave you they chose you to be famous, they chose you to be in the pros, they chose you to be in front of the being having the availability of resources without you even thinking about it. So what makes you bigger? Like how you have to remember where you started from. So like just because you got to, if I was to be selfish, I would be only thinking about the city that I was actually born in. You know what I'm saying? But I really have a mindset to think about the state that I was born in. So I'm actually thinking a little bit bigger. And if I really want to go, I talk about this all the time. I could even go even more and just leave this whole time in the United States and go try to find where I really, I could really tap in. But I have a child here. I have nieces and nephews. I have other family here. I talk about this all the time. It's still gonna have to. It's God, for the Most High and just have protection over my life because I'm still going to go to the highest level. And people be digging their own holes and they ain't gonna have no way to come out because I'm not even at that lane that I'm at. This is just helping plant seeds of greatness and knowledge. So I'm just doing this at a level of sports. I'm not even tapping in completely. So it's like I don't understand how people could attack somebody that has really pure intentions to build and grow. So I'm looking at it just because I might be a little bit like strong about how I say stuff. That doesn't mean I want ill will for you. If you're on the wrong side of the history, you are. So you might think you're on the right side. So it might might not be right. So and that's all I can say, Lynn. Just like stop the hating. Like I don't even like I don't hate on people. I don't go out and be like, I'm gonna hate on this person today. Just because I'm stepping on something, just because I'm stepping, that don't mean I'm hating. You just in the way of my step. Like you literally are just in the way. I don't know who you are. You imaginary, basically. It's like that's how I look at it. Like I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own pace, really. And the only reason why I'm even delayed is because there's people who want to pocket watch. Is people who want to stop my plight. Like literally, like these are facts. Like this is the only thing that's stopping me. I have developed a system already that people go by without people knowing it. It's just like people literally see how I do it and then they do it and they're like, dang, it's working out. And like I already had a research, like they're working out. It's gonna work out for you. And then when I get my chance and my resources, then you're gonna see me do even more. It's gonna be, it's gonna be friendly competition at that point. So, it ain't gonna be nothing like you can't try to stop something. I got an old ass hater club that really is hating on me. Like, this is funny. Like, these people have been around me since I was, people have been telling me since I was younger. So it's like I'm not young no more. So I could talk down on you because you look goofy. Like everything you do is goofiness. Like, yeah. So, I'll be laughing because the last few weeks since I've been doing this have been like scam artists that like been inboxing me. They sending like females towards me. Like it's literally scam accounts. So I'm looking at it like I don't understand why I'm responding like it's like it could be somebody real one day. You know what I'm saying? So I try to be professional as best as possible. So I'm like, this is like fraud. You're like I don't know what's your issue. Like just leave me alone with you're in the past. Whoever sent you is somebody from my past. It's somebody not in my way no more. They want to be in the way. Get out the way. That's all I ask. Like I don't get that. So, and even if it's somebody that's just a little awkward and I might be taking it the wrong way, I don't think I am. Cause you usually how, at the age I have, it's like word of mouth. So, your reputation is your reputation. People they still approaching me when they write me in like a trying to figure out what's going on with, but it's like you got to be genuine about asking me real questions. I'm not retarded. I'm not a robot. I'm not none of that you want me to be. So, it is what it is, man. We finna get ready to get back to it in a full scale, full court press. Sending 7 blitz package is and that's talking sports terminology. And it's gonna be like that in real life in the real world too. So I got some stuff lined up for my child. So happy she's going. My niece and nephew are in middle school now. They're gonna be earning, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna be they're gonna be lit because like I know they're gonna work together. They in 2 different counties, but they're gonna have to work together when it comes to earning themselves, so they can save up. They can learn about being a brand as a woman and being having respect behind their brand. So I talked to them about this when they were younger. So it's time for them to gear up. And then it's only 3 years you get to like prepare for the high school ranks, and then when they get to high school, both of them should be already knowing how to drive in that stage, and they could definitely go get them a player to just selling their clothes, selling what their their jewelry or whatever it is. And I'm not stopping nobody, but they already have that mindset and they already know what I expect from them. So just for them being in that preparation stage, they're gonna be okay. And we doing this from the bottom. There's so many people at the top. It's like a little bit of when they get to the top, they done sold out so bad. It'd be so funny because then they want to step on people. But you got you didn't earn like you laid down for that. You know what I'm saying? That this is not gonna happen. To best of my strength, it ain't going down with them two. Like they didn't, especially in my vision of vicinity. I ain't talking about my other nieces and them. They got the same ability as well. I know it's gonna be happening for them as well. That's in their age range. Not forgetting about them, but it's gonna be big. It's gonna be okay. And I'm not saying like everybody had their own story. So you just gotta be talk to your children and make sure they're aware of what how it goes. Like the woman has the majority of the say so when they get older and older. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to that developing. Now let's go. Let me see. I don't even think I forgot to pull up what I wanted to do. But we're gonna see right now. I'm gonna pull up. We're gonna talk a little politics. I might keep y'all. Like I said, I gotta be out here by a certain time. Watch later playlist. Let me see. Okay, this was what the okay. I've been talking about white supremacists, and I seen the title Jasmine Crockett. I think it was a day or two ago, probably 2 days ago. She's just talking about how they are just trying to, like it's like money being geared towards their financial. There is money being supported. People are basically supporting white supremacists with like billions of dollars, and it's broad daylight. And she just referenced it and made an example of what exactly what it is. And I like, I'm just only talking about this today because we're gonna talk about so it's gonna be short today. Um, and we're gonna review the movies that I watched. But I'm gonna let y'all listen to it, and then I'm gonna just give my spin because I've been talking about this for a while. I'm glad somebody is actually at that position, and everybody don't notice of this. Like we're not supporting no white supremacist groups. We don't want to support no white supremacist groups. Their time is up. They still trying to make rules and back way corners to get in the door, but they need to stop. They need, you just want money just to go play golf and still like we need other stuff done. We need other stuff done. We need to refurbish and keep everything aligned properly. So we don't have time to play games with billions of dollars. So we're gonna see what they're talking about. mm, 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 you know. Okay, that was a great 5 minute sequence of facts and opinions. I appreciate that. Now, my thing is, it's basically how I've been feeling, and it's just a very short. And this person is out of Texas, and she's talking about California, so she basically have a very wide reach of what she was just talking about of the examples, like like she was saying, all those cases where somebody should have had to come to the stands and defend their terrorist type of act and their white supremacist type of act. They did not. And like she said, they huddle up. The cabinet that we have right now huddles up with white supremacists, known white supremacists. They have these ICE agents out here that they, that's their little cousins and their nephews and nieces and out here working in tandems. That's out here terrorizing their communities. It's supposed to be, putting things back in order, which they're not. They're trying to, like she said, they're creating fear. So, I pretend, this is, today's a light day. We're it's Father's Day tomorrow, and it's. I don't want people to take it the wrong way of how I'm trying to put out information, But this could be considered a straw man story. But the story that she glimpsed over was the one that they put out in California, which was a pretty big straw man story. And then those other ones were not straw man stories. Those are active terrorists on our land. And white supremacists were the main people who did it. They were disguised in uniform, and they did not get no kind of the people in the family didn't get their justice for that losing family and getting attacked on this land. So, and then like you mentioned, the money that they've been stealing, because they call themselves transporting people and stealing money at the same time. So it's all about getting this information out. I appreciate her a lot. She keeps these people in. She was speaking to the senator and the governors and all that. So she's speaking in the mayor as well. And like I said, Texas is very split. It's like she has probably several family members that's been in like the trenches of like just trying to survive. So, I appreciate this. I was in Texas last winter. I was up there for a month. I got stuck for 2 extra weeks that I wanted to be up there. I was in Houston and Dallas area. And it was pretty nice, but I went to see if I could work up there. And it is stuff that's going on, but it's very like it's the same as Florida. You got to know somebody to actually get on full time. And they really, like I said, the way they try to robot me is funny. I'm a very high powered person, but they got this little government witch tribe patch on the back of my head trying to put me to sleep anytime they want. It doesn't work out all the time. I just laugh about it because like if we call it something else, they're gonna say it's some other reason, but it is what it is. My family is pretty high ranked in. I hate to call it the government or whatever because like my family was in. They were they did a lot of service, and I speak about this all the time. But I'm moving on because like it's they try to do it by third person, but people have been exposed. The school boards, the just the whole communities that I've been in, they've been exposed. Basically, the projects that I grew up in when I was younger, all these places have been exposed for trying to do stuff in third party, and it's being exposed. I never was at they trying to supersede my spot and what in my basically take me out the position that I'm supposed to be in. But through the grace, my grandfather's still alive, my father's dad is still alive, and me and my cousin definitely did not lose our position in the community. And he definitely bet on both of us to be successful. So we gonna still do the race. We still gonna go in. And I'm proud. I always tell him I'm happy with what he's doing, and doing his job. And I got a cousin that's pretty famous. We don't look up to him, but we appreciate what he did for us as well. Just having to go real low, and he did. I can't go into what it really is. And then the same thing on my mother's side, my little cousin. His dad went in, and they just tried to put him in as well. But everything's getting cleared up. I don't care how people may feel. I don't. I'm not living off what they did. I'm just talking about. I'm not even supporting. They know how I am. So they still relatives of mine. They were closest. They were the closest to me when I was younger, as far as relatives. So if y'all disagree how I'm speaking about them, and you have a disagreement with them, it's not my reason. You can't fault me for that. So I'm not trying to stop my plight or what I need to do in my family to protect the women and the children in this family. So we're gonna continue to talk about family, and we continue about morals. And you can't get mad if people retaliate, because I know how all these people is. 9 times out of 10, I know it was more of we joking, laughing, us being who we are. It's like people get offended, and then when we their response was low, and we could get lower. So that's all it was, and that's all it be. And I'm not even, I'm not talking about nobody specific. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about myself, really. So they know what it is, and we're gonna continue to just try to be positive and bring like we all got children. We need to move forward. So it's only gonna get greater. We still, like I said, the main people that start stuff and run. We can't be doing their bidding, and it's no longer gonna be happening. So that's all it is. Like I said, we're gonna move on from politics today. Let's talk about no, like I said, let's go into more details about the community. The thing I'm doing in the community, I got to go get this fingerprint done. They got to check and balance everything now, so I'm okay with that. I got to end it shortly because I got to get out of here. And with that. And I'm hyped about football, man. Football. Some people in other countries and places might deem the sport. The higher you go, the more you can look into stuff that's not proper. But starting at the youth level is fun and it's light. As long as you teach a good program, and it's cleaned up a lot in the actual. It's cleaned up a lot in the at the top in the NFL. They're doing a better job. It's still a lot going on in college that they can't, they doing the best the job. But when you start paying, it still could get back to how it was in the 80s and the 70s and even the 60s. So in certain places. And when you start paying people, they feel a little bit like they don't have to finish college. They have their own side ventures. And hopefully the love of the game comes back and the purity of it, because people, it just you just gotta know the history behind it. I played sports since I was 7, organized sports, so football, brother. And I had one of my favorite years was my first 2 years. It was very fun. All years was fun, but I learned a lot from the coaches I had, the teammates I had. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. So that's all I remember. And I played high school as well. I talk about I be dissing my head coach, but he went pro. I think he played arena, so I can't hate too much. I just be talking junk because he didn't let me play defense. But it's all good. And then I played down here for a little bit, and I had some good teammates as well. But football is fun. It's a big team. You have a lot of fun. I coached a long time. I enjoyed it, the atmosphere. It teaches you how to, you don't have to go to the army to learn discipline. And the next step would be a real soldier. So I talk about that all the time. Make it to a high level prepping and professional leagues and stuff like that. So, I still got a lot of kids that I coach in youth sports and stuff. They still on the field in college, and I hope they have success. So, that's the main thing. Now I'm gonna move on from talking about the community. We're gonna move on, talk some. When I say entertainment, yesterday I got to check out How to Train a Dragon. I'm gonna just give my quick review. If I was to give it a 9 out of 10, I give it it was a little bit in the beginning. I don't know. You have moods when you watch a movie. So the way they reference, it actually was a good plot twist. It wasn't a lot of talking. It was a lot of, jumping around action. Like, it wasn't high level action, with just like, it was entertaining. So it was pretty good with that. The I'll say, like, the back and forth talking and verbiage, I wasn't high on it. I'll give that like a 4 out of 10. But other than that, the movie was pretty solid. I'll give it probably a 6.5 out of 7. It was pretty good. If I was being very harsh, I'll give it a 6 because I didn't like what I was hearing. Like, it reminded me of somebody like trying to, how we had, it just gave you an example of, like, if you watched enough of these Disney movies, it's like people want you to like feel like the black and brown people are supposed to be slaves. It talked about how high powered beings is, which was the dragons. And it basically, like, it showed you what it is. Like, they had to go. I can't explain how much I'm already tapped into, like, just that high power, that energy that you have in your core. But it's so funny. Like, I get attacked for real. So it's just like, you just gotta let it be what it is. It was a pretty good movie. Hopefully the parents watch it with their kids and they talk in today's modern time, especially if you're somebody like me, about how to protect yourself, how to, know what it is. Like, it was a pretty good movie. The movie ended up being great because at the end it showed the dragons had the answer to a higher power dragon. They had to feed the dragon. So it was good how they showed that. And it's like, that's why we don't need to fight and have war. And, we have to respect everybody's, that circle of life. When you watch Lion King, I like the way Disney put that out, and Pixar, whoever made that movie, whatever, whichever company that was. Yeah, so it was pretty good. Then the Materialist movie. I'm glad I didn't watch. I didn't pay, so I had to just get up. It was getting very good when got it. I had to rate what I watched. I'll give that. I don't know the female who, that both of them were great actors, but the female, this is one of her best performances. I cannot remember her name. She played in a lot of movies as a teen and as an adult. This is one of her best performances. She. It's just like, she just did a great job of like talking and then like switching her demeanor, switching her tones. You know, when she found out like she had like a bad client, and then she was like a matchmaker. That's basically the part of the movie. And she had a bad incident, and then it just talk about what happens in these cities. You know, these big cities where they got these matchmakers, and it was a show called Matchmaker. I don't know if they was playing off of that lady who she definitely favored her, and they remember that show Matchmaker that was on TV. And it's probably very heavily based off her life, but it was a lot of people who was doing it. So, she, you know, it was still a good movie. Like, she did a great job, and then it was get to, she ended up getting in a relationship with a guy instead of picking the guy that she really truly loved and cared about, basically because he was suave and fly, but they didn't get into too much detail. I left before that second hour was finna go into his life story and what why he got what he got and what was his flaws. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. So I left before they get into deep into him. They had like that was like their second. She had he basically moved her in the first time. They dated for probably a month or two, and then he moved in on the first time they had intercourse, and he gave her a key, made her breakfast, he wowed her, and all that. But he already had the fly, had the Maybach, all that. It was pretty lit. Like the plot, and I'll give the movie a 8.59 because the way they acted and the way they was like breaking it down was pretty good. It was entertaining. I couldn't give it a perfect. If the movie ended better than when it start, I'll give it a 9.5/10. So, I gotta check the whole thing out. I really want to go to the movies. Like, I'm not dating nobody. I'm not in a relationship. I've been like I told everybody, I've been celibate for like almost 5 years. I don't like to be played with. Like like I said, I take spiritual warfare very seriously. I had to make sure my child is properly protected because the person I have my child with, I don't agree with everything how she is and how you raise people. You know what I'm saying? So, I look at it like that. So I had to make sure I'm on call for my children and my family. So that's how I look at it. But I'm definitely looking for a dating, at least dating, and then hopefully again get serious and serious. But I'm all game. I'm out in the field again. So hopefully I find somebody that is worthy of my. I told y'all. Like, I try to check on real friends. I thought they were friends. I don't know, and I don't talk to a lot of men. I have a whole bunch of male cousins and brothers type, that I already have the patch. It's big in my world. So, and nobody's small, everybody big. So, I don't have time to make new friends really no more. And I'm at that level of, I ain't trying to, unless it's really on business. I ain't really on all that friendly, he ha ha. I'll speak, if you speak properly when I'm out and about. But I can't even call people friends because it's I got to protect my family. So, we getting on everything, getting on the court. We got some people under me that's young, they vibrant, that's in my family. So you got to make sure y'all, I don't have to do, the heavy lifting almost done for, when it comes to protecting. They gonna get in their bag. They gonna do the new school way, all the way the new school way. So I'm hyped about them coming down, and being young men. So and like I said, I don't train and coach a lot of people. Hopefully everybody is aligned properly, and we're gonna go from there. I think that's pretty much it, man. The basketball game yesterday. The OKC came back. The Indiana Pacers were leading for pretty much 3 quarters. I left. I went out yesterday. I had played a couple of rounds of poker. I didn't win, unfortunately. But it's my birthday week. I wanted to do something that I like to do. I wish I could just play with family, like for $10 or something. But it don't be coming out like that. Everybody busy, and I'm not around them. So it'd be fun to do something like that. That's how I be looking at it. You got to spend too much just to go sit nowadays. But it was fun. I still enjoyed it. I watched the game. No, I ate McDonald's after. You don't get to eat good when you gotta when you lose to when you don't win. So I would have ate at the place I was at, but I had to go eat McDonald's. So I was like, I'm still hungry. But I came back. It was cool. It was chill. And now for like, okay, yeah, the game was pretty solid. The 3 quarters they were leading. When you got the MVP on your team, that's how you prove that you were the MVP. He dropped 35 last night again, and that's just how he came back in the fourth quarter. He closed the game out, and then I didn't even watch the fourth quarter because I left early. But ended up what ended up happening. So, that's how you prove your stature as a solidifying yourself. If he win the championship, he basically in the Hall of Fame. He has a nice career. He won the championship, he won MVP, and he earned every stripe he got. And that's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Every year he got better and better. He learned on some great people. So you know how that go. I'm happy for him. Hopefully, and this is a tight series. You can either like take the championship and the top player as yourself, or you can let that young guy that's sitting over there, tickering back and forth from, I could call him a superstar because he did make the finals. He will be considered a superstar. He's been a star since he came into the league. So he made it. He made that superstar run, but he just got to make sure that consistency is on the biggest, brightest moments. And this was a game to take the heart out of SGA and OKC if he would have closed that game out and go up 3-1. So that's what I was thinking when I was leaving. They was up like, no, they ended up coming on the run. And when I left, it was a timeout. It was down 3. OKC was. And I was like, well, it's a toss-up, really. But, the bench did play well, but it didn't, it was up to the star players, Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton to close that game out. But OKC prevailed. And so it's in WNBA, and then that's pretty much it for the NBA. We're gonna see the next game is Monday. It's pretty sure, happy Father's Day to all the people that celebrate. I don't really celebrate. I don't get, I don't have that significant other to, make sure I get my gift. My mom does not have to do this. She did a lot. What I'm saying? She basically, my dad was in my life, but she also did a lot by herself. So, and my father extended. Shout out to my family, all the men in my family that are fathers that take care of theirs, especially provide, and definitely be there for support. Make sure their kids get to school every day. Make sure they get back every day. And I think we definitely got that down pack on both ends. Everybody's not in, everybody's home now. So, and that's in the group that I was raised around. Everybody should be on the court, and everybody has to instill real knowledge in their kids. So I definitely know that for a fact as men. And we protect for sure. And that's pretty much it. Now, WNBA games, I think it's some couple games today. If I check them out, I might check them out if I go step in something. And y'all support the women as well. They're in the middle of their season, and they get their season not as long. So I'm pretty sure the WNBA they're gearing up for All-Star voting and all that. They probably in the middle of their schedule already. So make sure y'all paying attention. Make sure y'all really support them. Get their numbers up, their ratings up. We support the women over here. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna close the show out. I appreciate y'all. I am your host, Ira Bush. This is Dynasty, the podcast show. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. We off on Sundays for sure. Monday, hopefully we get here. We've been very consistent and persistent. I'm gonna have to start going out and telling people to subscribe to this channel. I've been going in, and it's a start right there. Once I get my streaming service, where how everybody get paid, I'm gonna have that going and YouTube, and I'm definitely gonna try to get paid like everybody else. So it's gonna, I had to make sure I lay a foundation out before I even hop into that realm with some high-powered young men out there who going in. But my message is not the same as their message. They just trying to get people to get funds and to earn and to really be out there, having, being on the lighter side and the fun side. But everybody go through stuff. Everybody have their own, not bad, but, they have children as well. They start to have children. They started off as YouTube and streaming stars, and then now they got girlfriends, wives, children. You know what I'm saying? They doing big things. And y'all know who I'm talking about. These people are huge. So, shout out to them. We're going to go from there. I see y'all later, man. Like I said, Monday, we back at it. See y'all.